Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress with a new video in the alphabet series. We have arrived at the letter J. It was William Squires in the comments who asked me a few days ago what happened to this series. Well, nothing happened. I just did some other videos in the meantime. But let's pick up the alphabet and let's see what your suggestions were. Jack Waring said, why don't you do a video on the Jerome Gambit? He also suggested the Jalalabad defense. And he suggested the Janowski or Janowski variation, as did Joey P., Mateus Penteado, and Igor Govorushko. Joke chess problems was a suggestion from Final Flush. And Ben said, why don't you make a video on Jadoub? What you say just before you adjust a piece. Weesh said, Jose Raul Capablanca, it's another opportunity to make a video on the great third world champion. I missed that opportunity at the letter C. Ju and June was suggested by Buxis Singh, and two people, Subut and William, said the great Judith Polgar. Her first name also starts with a J. In the end, I went with Jack's suggestion, the Jerome Gambit, mostly because I did not know what it was, so I did some research on it, found a nice game to show you, so that is what this video is about. And we'll jump straight into the game. It was played in 1884, yes, a very long time ago. The white player was Noman Neskio NN. We don't know the name of that player, but we know the name of the black player, Joseph Henry Blackburn, a very famous player of that era. And white played this Jerome Gambit, and we're now going to see what it is. It was played in London, as I said, in 1884. e4 from the white player, and Blackburn answered with e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, and bishop c5. Nothing strange so far. We have the Giuco piano of the Italian game on the board. But now the fireworks start. Bishop takes f7 check was played by white. That piece was taken, and now we get the Jerome Gambit. It is a crazy gambit. Knight takes e5 check is played here, sacrificing a second piece for only 2 pawns. Blackburn took it, and in the 1896 edition of the Chess Openings Ancient and Modern book, the authors wrote, the Jerome Gambit is an American invention, hence the American flag on the thumbnail, and a very risky attack. It is described in the American supplement to Cook's synopsis as unsound, but not to be trifled with. The first player, that is white, sacrifices 2 pieces for 2 pawns, with the chances arising from the adversary's king being displaced and drawn into the center of the board. And that is indeed the point of sacrificing those 2 pieces. The black king is on f7 and doesn't have much protection. White can win a piece back by playing d4, forking those 2 pieces. Then black can take on d4, queen takes, and black can play many moves. One of them is queen f6, and black is better. He's just a piece up. White did not go for d4 after knight takes e5. He played queen h5 check, more in the spirit of the Jerome Gambit. Here, Grandmaster Yasser also an American, commented on this variation, and he said that either king f8 is possible here, giving up that knight, knight takes e5, and after d6, black is better. Another variation is to save the knight, knight g6, give the bishop, and after d6, again, black is better. Saran writes, white has insufficient compensation for the sacrificed piece. But Joseph Henry Blackburn did not play king f8 or knight g6. He likes to attack and played g6 to chill the check. And white played queen takes e5. He has 1 piece back and he has a fork on these 2 pieces. Blackburn writes here, not to be outdone in generosity. However, after queen e7, white cannot take the rook, says Blackburn. If queen e7 had been played, which was not played in this game, then white can take on h8, but then there is queen takes e4 check, king steps aside, and knight f6, and this is good for black. He has 3 pieces in the attack, and the white king looks very vulnerable. This is much better for black. In the game though, after queen takes e5, with that fork on those 2 pieces, Blackburn did not play queen e7, he played d6. And that move deserves a question mark. Although this is such a crazy line, anything is possible here. Because now white can take on h8. And white did. Queen h4 from Blackburn. Yes, he likes to attack. There is a threat on f2 now. Both bishop and queen are looking at that square. So white castled, protecting f2. And knight f6, bringing another piece into the game. Here the only move for white to keep an advantage, and that's why d7, d6 a few moves ago was a bad move, is queen d8 here, and that is not easy to find. It was pointed out to me by the engine. The point of that move is that it pins the knight. If the knight plays, the queen is lost, and that slows down black's attack somewhat. But white did not find queen d8 a very difficult move to find, a real computer move. After knight f6, he played c3, and now black's attack becomes overwhelming. Knight g4 was played by Blackburn, threatening checkmate on h2, so h3 had to be played, and then bishop takes f2 check. If you take, then you'll get checkmated into, queen takes, king steps aside, and checkmate. So after bishop takes f2 check, white went to h1 with the king. That's the only other move. And now a very beautiful move from Blackburn. Bishop c8 to f5. And it's a discovered attack on the queen. So you cannot take the bishop because then you lose your queen and black wins here. Here's extra material. So after bishop f5, taking the bishop doesn't work, but of course you can take the rook. And that is what white did. But now there is a forced checkmate in 2 moves on the board. And if you want to look for yourself, put the video on pause. Can you find it? It's very, very pretty. The only way to checkmate in 2 moves from here is by sacrificing your queen. Queen takes h3 check is a beautiful move. You have to take, and then bishop takes e4 is checkmate with 2 bishops and the knights. Blackburn accepted white's sacrifice of 2 minor pieces and responded by returning the knight, then sacrificing both rooks and his queen to deliver checkmate with his 3 remaining minor pieces. This is not a very convincing refutation of the gambit, as white could have played better. In fact, black sacrificed even more than white in this game. Still, I picked it for this video because of its spectacular play from Blackburn and a very pretty finish. Hope you liked it. The next video in this series will be about the letter K. I hope you will give me your suggestions of that letter. I can think of a few. Kasparov, Karpov, Kramnik spring to mind. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the Chess to Impress channel and please leave a comment. I will read them all and I will reply to them all. If you like the video, it would be great if you could share it on social media by clicking the share button on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter and on Facebook. This is Rick for Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.